Thank you so much. What an honor. I don't think I've ever done it this early before. It's usually the time I go to bed. And I brought a few notes because if I didn't, the beautiful memories would be 6 weeks long. And before I get on with my praise to the legacy of one of the world's greatest entertainers, everybody said that. My baby brother too, Michael Jackson. And I'd like to clarify with his mother today something we talked about for years, Michael and I did. Michael's nickname was Smelly, but it's not what it sounds like at all. Michael wouldn't say funky, he wouldn't say words like that, so he said Smelly Jelly all the time, so that was his nickname. I'm sorry, Catherine, it was misunderstood. Anyway, Michael and my relationship was cemented in the work that we did in the 80s in the recording studio, but it was born on a movie set in 1978. And the late great director, Sidney Lumet, pulled me kicking and screaming, and I was so busy during that time, doing the music for The Wiz. Remember that? And I was resisting it, but Sidney said magic words, "You owe me." And he was right, because I was just getting into the composing business then, and there were not many black composers doing movies, and the first one was a pawnbroker. So he said, you owe me, and it was true. And I'm glad he did. So as a scarecrow, Michael dove into this film like it was 16 people. Never seen anything like it. And with everything he had, learning not only his lines, but everybody's steps, the dialogue, the songs, everything. And prior to filming, Michael and I were working at home, and he said, could I help him find a producer to do his solo album on Epic? That time, Michael only had one song in the Wiz. He's on Down the Road with Diana, so I said, Michael, I didn't call him Smelly then. You don't have a song in this picture, you know. I'm not going to be happy until you get a song in it. So finally they wrote You Can't Win, get it in the picture. Remember that with the girls? And at the rehearsals with the cast, we were up in Brooklyn one day with Sidney and the principals, and Michael was pulling the proverbs out of his chest, stuffing, and he'd say, confusion, da-da-da-da-da. And one time he pulled one out, and he said, Socrates. He said it for 3 days, Socrates, and then finally, I didn't want him to see into that exercise of human nature to keep saying that, so nobody would correct us. I just said, Michael, it's Socrates. And he looked at me with a look. That was a magic moment when we really connected. He said, really? Like a deer in the headlight. And it just, every cell in my body just stopped right there. And that was the moment where we bonded. And I said, Michael, I'd like to take a shot at producing your album. And in that wonderment that I saw in his eyes, that locked me up, and I knew that we could go in a completely unexplored territory, a place that a jazz musician gave me goosebumps every time he made the tape. And Michael and I, along with the great songwriter Rod Temperton, engineer Bruce Medine, would go to New York to make music history with recordings of Off the Wall, Thrill, and Bad. But it was a close bond of friendship and love that forged that I will value most from that time. Together we shared on the mic, off the mic in the 80s, achieving heights that I can humbly say may never be reached again, and reshape the music business forever. I promise you, in 50, 75, maybe 100 years, what will be remembered about Michael is his music. It is no accident that almost 3 decades later, no matter where I go in the world, and I travel like a maniac, in every club and karaoke bar in the world, like clockwork, at midnight hour, you hear Billie Jean, Beat It, Want to Be Starting Something, Don't Stop You Get Enough, Rock With You, Man in the Mirror, Move, Criminal, and Thriller. Everywhere, 32 years ago. And it's mind-boggling. It can never go away. That's the legacy. We've got legacies on and on and on, at every standpoint, from a dancer, a singer, a both everything. And like everyone in the world, I was devastated with the news that Michael Jackson has suddenly left the room. But he never leaves the room. This blessed artist, who commanded the stage with the grace of an antelope, shattered the recording industry and broke down cultural boundaries around the world, and yet remained the gentlest and complex of souls. Michael was a different kind of human being and an entertainer. A man-child in many ways who was beyond professional, dedicated, soul. Smoking Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, Jackie Wilson, Sammy Davis, James Brown, even Miss Vic. And he worked for hours perfecting every kick, gesture, and movement so that they came together precisely the way they were intended to. So in closing, it's only fitting that Michael be enshrined here today in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater alongside the great song and dance men that we so admired and drew inspiration from, such as Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. But Michael is there. And to Catherine, Prince, Paris, Blanket, I know Michael is looking down from heaven at this very moment and grinning like a foxy sauerkraut. Love you. God bless you, Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, Quincy Jones and Smokey Robinson. Thank you.